I will apologize now because there was a little technical issue here with audio, which was all of the time I've been talking to James in the background while we've been waiting. This has been working absolutely fine. And just at the moment we went live, I appear to have been muted on several different levels, but we are now here. Good afternoon, LinkedIn. My name is Dominic. I run Stream. We're the UK's first iPhone-only multi-camera live stream and event video production company. Since I got access to LinkedIn Live just about 2 weeks ago, I have run loads of tests of videos, and then at the beginning of last week, I began my LinkedIn Live daily, bringing in a number of guests covering ranges of subjects from sport-led mentoring to tackle the problem of youth homelessness, all the way through on Friday last week to mental health first aid. Earlier this week, we spoke to Nick Mattingly, the CEO of Switcher Studio, talking about all things live streaming and video production. And today, I'm delighted to be joined by my guest, James Ski. James is the founder of SaaS Growth and Sales Confidence. He's going to talk to us now, and I'm going to bring him straight in. Welcome, James.
Hello, Dominic. This is amazing.
Well, when we get it right, it works brilliantly. I'm still not sure if I got that wrong, if that was something their side. But anyway, we're here.
I'm absolutely loving it. Thanks for the introduction.
You're very
Friday
welcome.
afternoon, just before the bank holiday weekend, considering I'm an ex-LinkedIner, to feel like I've got access to LinkedIn Live along with yourself before anyone else in the UK is pretty exciting. So good job, mate.
Oh, it's really cool. It was a complete surprise to me, but I'm absolutely loving it. It's an amazing opportunity. And actually, it was only about 15 minutes before I got you in on this that I remembered that you are an ex-LinkedIner. So, you know, I'm going to use that as the lead in. Can you just tell us a little bit about you, your background, and what you do now?
Yeah, absolutely. So just on LinkedIn, since starting my career early in recruitment, and having access to the world's professionals, I've always been a LinkedIn fanboy. So it was a bit of a dream come true when I got the job to go and work there in 2014. And having spent 3 years there, understanding what it takes to build a professional network and understanding how to leverage that network for your own business. Yeah. I'm excited that I now do run a company. And I think actually in the last couple of years, the value that LinkedIn's created for its members has continued to increase. And I think you probably agree that we've never seen so much engagement. And LinkedIn Live is the next step for engaging with people that you care about and want to learn more about.
Absolutely. It was long overdue. I mean, I've made no bones about the fact that probably for about an 18-month to 2-year period, I was a little bit of a LinkedIn skeptic. It had turned into, it looked to me like it was turning into the Facebook of the professional networking world. And then they started to claw it back. And whether it's linked to the changes at Microsoft, whatever it is, they're really, really driving home the core values and the key features of LinkedIn that make it that's allowing it now to realize the potential that it's always had. And as you just said, you know, the development of their video, their LinkedIn Live platform, which is long overdue, I'm just delighted it's coming about. And it can only be a good thing for businesses.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of individuals that feel LinkedIn's losing its way, particularly around the comments around how it can often feel more like Facebook. But frankly, I'm a business person. I don't really have time or much interest hanging out on Facebook, whereas LinkedIn is like air for me. It drives all of my existing business, which I'll give you a bit of insight into at the moment. It allows me to connect and engage with every single professional I meet. And other than my family and 3 children that I spend the rest of my time with, I'm focused on my business, and that's being on LinkedIn. Absolutely. And the best way to differentiate yourself or your business versus others is the human connection. It doesn't matter how much more technology we've got access to. People, still care about people, and they still care about that human connection. So for me, more of this interaction is just a positive way to promote your brand, but also engage with people that might care about your product or service.
Absolutely. I mean, you're really active on LinkedIn as well. You do a lot. I see you pretty much daily, if not more than daily, putting stuff out. And you're obviously thinking that it's working for you. Do you see do you see better engagement with the text that you put out, with the photos that you put out, or with the video that you put out? Or is it a mix?
So let me take a step back. When I was at LinkedIn, I was responsible for the largest flagship companies in the UK. So I was advising executives at companies like Just Eat, Burberry, Marks and Spencer's, Lloyd's Banking Group on how they would leverage that LinkedIn platform. And it was very evident that you have this asset where you've got a huge employee base online with their profiles that you should be leveraging to promote themselves. And what I found funny is I was going into these meetings suggesting to people to be more active, but I wasn't that active myself. And if you think back, there was a time on LinkedIn where they kicked off the content distribution platform with influencers. So you may see that there's this kind of blue tick, which is kind of the famous LinkedIn influencer, which is extremely difficult for people to get access to. And there was only a finite amount they ever gave out. So people like Richard Branson, Oprah Winfrey, James Caan, the Dragon's Den in the UK. These individuals help stimulate content. And I recognize that to start increase my reach, I need to publish articles and I need to write content. Now, to be fair, I'm more of a talker. I'm less of a writer. And I've had help. So I've got a good friend of mine called Mike the Writer, who kind of proofreads and makes sure as much as he can the grammar's right. But I originally started publishing. So, and I'll answer your question in a moment. The LinkedIn publishing platform, so LinkedIn long form content, is what immediately allowed me to put my message out above others in the UK particularly. So if you look at sales influencers that some people tag me into in the US, every single state, you've got someone that's doing keynotes, they're on radio stations, they're on TV. We don't have quite the same affinity or affection towards the sales profession in the UK, which is unfair, and I'm trying to change that with my business. But what I found that by publishing and putting out long form content, I got a lot of traction, and I'd start to get a few thousand views. And then LinkedIn started to implement tags, so you could tag people to come checking them out, which we've done today. And that would start to increase engagement. However, pure text-based content that does not have any links off LinkedIn, any images, any link to a video did, I would say about 12 months ago, outperform most content production. So there was a period of time where if I just put out maybe 300 words of text, it was spaced, it was easy to read on the mobile, and it had some kind of topical view or opinionated piece, I'd get 100 likes, and then that would grow into tens of thousands of views. I would say because of the collection of content being produced on LinkedIn, and even though my network is exponentially growing since I was at LinkedIn, from like less than 8,000 connections to over 15,000, my content isn't necessarily getting further reach. And therefore, I just personally believe, working with the algorithm, that it's about variety. So you need a mixture of video, you need a mixture of imagery, and you need a mixture of pure text-based. And you can do that a number of times throughout the day to ensure that when someone is on LinkedIn, and unlike you and I that might live and breathe in it, every time I'm walking to the car, I'm in my Uber, I'm waiting for a meeting, I'm on LinkedIn. Not everybody's like that. So for me, my argument is that when they do get onto LinkedIn for that 30 seconds on that week, I want them to see something I'm talking about. And if you've had enough of me, you just ignore me with your phone. But I'd rather be the person being ignored versus the person that no one knows about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's clearly working for you. As you just said, you've grown your network from 8,000 to 15,000 people, which is as a direct consequence of that level of engagement, that level of effort that you're putting in, and also that level of engagement, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I do my best, and I know even today, if people are seeing this and they were like, "Hold on, James, I messaged you on Wednesday after your event, and I haven't heard from you." I'm one man that has some very good friends that is helping build this business. Yeah, I am still starting out, and it is sometimes difficult to get back everybody in a timely manner. But generally, if I think about what sales confidence is today, so sales confidence has become the largest network of sales leaders and sales professionals in the UK. And
Yeah.
we've achieved that by running events almost on a monthly basis now, where we get top class speakers that deliver these very short, punchy TED Talk style talks for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we get a great audience. So typically in my events, which are paid for in the evening, we had one on Wednesday at level 39 on the top floor, or sorry, on the 39th floor of One Canada Square. We had 140 people in the room, and we had 5 amazing speakers, and the engagement's really high because this profession, especially in software companies, they want to learn. They want to find out what the top leaders are doing. I would not be able to get those people in the room unless I built my reputation on LinkedIn. It's that simple. And they will not remember to get their ticket unless I follow up with them on LinkedIn. So for me, like I said, it is like air. If I'm not on LinkedIn, I'm not breathing. My business just does not exist. It's as simple as that.
So when did you leave LinkedIn?
So I left LinkedIn at the beginning of 2018, so the beginning of last year.
And is that when sales confidence started?
So sales confidence, I guess, when I first published my logo on 99 Designs was in the summer of 2017.
Right.
I had 500 ideas coming from all around the world, and I've selected the one that's on my website, salesconfidence.com, and I'm very happy with it. But the first event was in September 2017.
Yeah.
And that really was supported by a strong VC in the UK called Notion Capital, and 80 people turned up. We had a really great response that London needed this type of event, and that gave me enough encouragement to continue pursuing this as a business post having a really good year end at LinkedIn. So it was kind of Christmas 2017. I had a particularly good year at LinkedIn. I thought whatever happens, I could go back to LinkedIn, or I could look for other opportunities. But I felt that the time to pursue sales confidence was strong, and I also had some commitment from some UK software companies, company called Cognizant that are flying at the moment. They kind of sponsored me, and that gave me some confidence that this was the right time to kind of start pursuing it and working towards the conference that I ran.
Yeah. So just so you know, because you can't see this, but I've actually put the sales confidence website up on the screen at the moment, just literally just scrolling through the homepage just to kind of show the content that you're putting out. And also so that people could see the logo that you just talked about.
I'm quite proud of that logo.
Are you?
I don't know if this goes out for people that can see it, but
yeah, they can see that now. I've just put you back on the screen.
so this is my handy booklet. So sales confidence here. That was the 7-minute talks I talked about. And then here's some of our major sponsors, SalesLoft and G2 Crowd. So what's interesting is that the space I operate in is just getting hotter and hotter. So sales technology and the need to leverage sales technologies to grow your sales team or your business is absolutely mission critical now. And companies like SalesLoft, G2 Crowd, they've landed in the UK during this year. And so for timing wise for me, having partners where they are putting a focus on the UK, despite Brexit, there is an opportunity here for me to continue to expand the network and offer kind of value to business people, and particularly sales leaders and sales professionals and founders in the software industry.
I have tried not to get too political in this at all, and we've not mentioned it. We've not mentioned the B word throughout the whole time I've done it. However, you just did, but it's not affecting you from what you're saying.
No, I mean, look, I'm a kind of an up and coming entrepreneur. Whatever the economic or political climate, I've got to go and win business.
Yeah.
So for me, it hasn't. I actually think that London and the spotlight on London to work harder to promote itself is stronger than ever. In fact, I was kind of thinking, like, I've got props in the room. So here's a good example. This was the London Business Awards organised by London and Partners and the Mayor of London.
Right.
In earlier in the year, and I'm a partner and help some of the early stage startups on the business growth program.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to see from all around the world their associates and partners coming along and promoting London. You know, we have a great story to tell. We have great history. We have great security. We have great economic power. And despite all the challenges around the political climate or the noise that's been created, it's never been a better time to do business in the UK. The UK is hugely supportive, and I'm proud to be, you know, British. I'm proud to base my business in London, and I have seen, because I spent time in California. Actually, another good. This was a badge from an event I was at earlier in the year at a conference called SaaS Growth. This was in California, right? Yeah. You go over there, and the companies, they're talking about London. They're talking about using the UK and London as a launch pad to Europe.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it hasn't impacted me. And I think particularly US companies landing here, yes, I'm sure there's concerns, and I'm sure, and I know there's lots of political concerns. I'm not going to go into that, but for the people I work with, it's still a great time to be doing business here.
So you get sales confidence up and running, which has been going just over a year?
Well, in totality, to be fair, it's probably coming up to 2 years.
Okay. But you get sales confidence up and running, and as you said, it's the largest sales community online. And then you decide to make your life even more complicated and start something else as well simultaneously in SaaS growth. So just give us a very brief background to SaaS growth. Then I'm going to play in the video, which is the highlights from last year, and then we can talk about it some more. Okay,
cool. So SaaS Growth is really London's #1 B2B sales leadership conference, which is happening on the 3rd of July. And it occurred to me very quickly doing evening events that someone was going to want to run a conference in London. In the US, every week almost in a different state, there is a conference around sales and marketing. And the fact that these companies are coming here to expand, I felt that I needed to be the person that launched the conference and could build up a reputation around successfully bringing excellent world-class speakers into the room on one day. And so that's why last year I kicked off SaaS Growth, and as a result of the success, we're bringing it back for the second year.
Right, we've got a 2-minute video, which is the highlights from last year's event, and then we'll be right back with James, so stick with us.
I'm Heather Jane, and this is SaaS Growth 2018. SaaS Growth is a unique London-based conference which helps companies to drive revenue and increase sales growth. Is this the first time you've been to a SaaS Growth talk?
This particular event, yes, and love the format. I'm not a slides fan, so the fact that it's a no slides rule goes well with me.
And what are you looking forward to most today? I know you're speaking yourself later on.
I think I'm most looking forward to understanding what people do in practice. It's not the theory, it's the application, you know, what real leaders have done in building their own sales teams and their own businesses here in London.
So how have you found today, Greg?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. SaaS Growth has really given a whole day for people to dive into specific topics. I think the sales competence events are a really condensed version, so it's been nice that everyone can take a day and do some learning. It's been fun.
James, how have you found the event today?
It's been amazing. It's honestly one of the best sales events I've been to, and I go to a lot, so it's really been educational. It's very different to any of the other kind of events I've been to, just in terms of the breadth of the speakers, the depth of the talks, and then the content. So for me, it's been perfect, and I've learned so much. I really recommend anybody to come here again to the one next year.
What an amazing and insightful day it's been. Make sure you log online and check out all the videos of our individual speakers, and we'll see you next year.
So that was the highlights video from SaaS Growth 2018, which is held down at Here East in the Olympic Park. James, let's talk about it, because it was an amazing first year event. I wasn't around in business at the time when you started this, but talking to people, as you know, we've met through mutual friends at Paddle, and just talking to people that are around at their events that they're putting on, it was really popular. And like the level of interest that you got, not just in terms of ticket sales, but actually the level of support that you're getting from sponsors is unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I've been a little bit caught off guard. As I mentioned, I've made some effort to kind of travel to Dublin last year at a great conference called SaaStock. I was at SaaStock in California earlier in the year. I was at the Rainmaker conference organised by SalesLoft in February. And it's helped me build my relationships. And I'm a big believer in person, building friendships with people. And I think like the pennies dropped for a lot of organizations that the market, London really needs something to put a focus on practitioners. So, some of the speakers at this event, they're absolutely world class, but there hasn't been a platform for them to share their story or their expertise before around sales leadership. So if you take Jeremy, who's the VP of EMEA at New Voice Media, that company is a British founded company that got acquired for $350 million last year by Vonage. Now, within that business, within his community, everyone will know how hugely influential he is. But outside of that, there wasn't a platform to share that story. And like what you're doing with Paddle at those SaaS talks, the need for founders to understand how to build successful software sales team has never been more important, because that's the direction of travel with technology. So to have these individuals, giving them a platform, has been very well received. And a good friend of mine, Neil Ryland, I used to work for at a British company called Huddle. He's building a business that he's taken the sales team in a couple of years from him as an individual over at Peakon to a team of over 50 globally. Again, where would you go and hear? Neil won't give you a meeting if you just want to go and have a coffee with Neil, unless it's a customer. So this is the opportunity to be in the room with world-class leaders that you can't get access to anywhere else. And just one point to add, this year in particular, we've made a large effort to promote some of the awesome women leaders that we've got. So I've got Karen Molden from Zendesk speaking, Nazma Kuban from Cognizant, Jackie from DocuSign. There's a huge variety and a huge amount of thought leadership and a lot of effort, time behind the scenes gone into putting this event on. And I think the partners that you can see on the website have seen that, and they're happy to get behind this. They know that we're still building it. And I believe 2020 is going to be even greater, but this year looks like we're going to have a lot of fun.
So just as you've mentioned it, I've put the SaaS Growth website up on the screen for everybody now, and it just shows the I don't know how up to date are the sponsors on the homepage here. Are you pretty much
so almost pretty much.
Yes, I mean you just got to flick through and you can see some of these aren't small businesses in the SaaS world. These are big businesses in the SaaS world. Big businesses that have an amazing story and clearly obviously quite happy to come and share it.
But I think what's significant and what was important to me is promoting UK founded SaaS companies as well. So if you look at Refract, for example, and Jiminy, Refract's based in Newcastle, Jiminy in London, they focus their technologies on call coaching. You've got SalesSeek, which is a CRM provider based over in Chiswick. And then you've got companies that partner with the sales leaders that I work with, companies like Ingenio and Venetrix. They provide sales talent for these businesses. So a lot of my focus has been on how can I speed up the delivery time for sales leaders and be their best friend. So for example, if their pain is they need to hire, I can introduce them to Ingenio or Venetrix for the type of people that they need to hire. If their pain is they need to accelerate lead generation, they need a GDPR compliant database, they can install Cognizant. They want to run compensation plans, use exactly. The idea is that I've selected and worked with partners that I trust, and also partners that can deliver value to the sales leader and the sales organization. Because if sales confidence and SaaS growth can help leaders be more effective, then they're going to continue coming to my events, and that's good for me. So I just want to promote tools and services that add value to the sales leader and the sales organization overall.
But it's not just, as you said, it's not just about the talks. It's very much about the networking as well. You and I have spoken about this anyway. It's a huge opportunity to network with some of the biggest names in the SaaS world. And did you get any feedback last year on what impact the networking side had for people last year?
Yeah, one of the most important reasons for people investing in SaaS growth is to network and connect with people for advice, mentorship, and opportunities to develop their understanding of how others do it, but also networking with peers where they feel like they can let their hair down for once. Because often as a sales leader, they're exposed to the venture capital community, the board, the CEO. They've got individuals in their team that want more money. They want a promotion, 12 months earlier than is really due. So the sales leaders just wanted a place to network and also just let their hair down and celebrate each other, the contribution they make to businesses. So that feedback and more of that. So we've got more time this event for breaks, lunch, after party, so people can actually enjoy the networking as well as listening to fantastic speakers that we spoke about.
So how many talks have you got over the course of the day?
Well, so to be fair, some of them are like, well, there's a lot. There's 40 speakers in one day.
Wow.
Which is an incredible amount. And the reason being is I have a style where a 15-minute keynote is max 15 minutes. Sorry, and we tend to do a lot of 7-minute delivery. So no PowerPoint slides. You get 7 minutes to deliver practical, actionable value that the audience can take away. They can genuinely gain some insights in that short period of time. And then the key is during the networking and the follow-up, there's an opportunity to actually learn more about the individual speakers.
Why did you go down the route of no slides at all? Because this is a really interesting, as I'm going around filming different events for different people, everyone's taking a slightly different approach to how they're putting them on. And I find it interesting where those decisions end up. So
in all honesty, I don't like the time and effort it takes me to put a PowerPoint deck together. Sales leaders aren't marketeers. They're not the most graphically creatively savvy, so often their slides look crap. So someone in their business makes them look good. So I didn't want people on my evening talks to have to mess around putting together slides, and then I don't want people to rely on it. I want people to be on the spot. I want them to be up front in the audience and owning it. That being said, having a lot of direct talking at you, you do need to mix up the environment on a one-day conference. So actually for the conference, we had this year we've decided to kind of add some panels in there, but also we are and we push back a lot of people, but we are going to have a handful. I'm talking less than 3 or 4 speakers that will have some slides, just so it breaks up the day. But generally, the decision around no slides was, I don't like them. I don't like looking at them. I don't think sales leaders are good at putting them together, and I don't want people to use it as a crutch and rely on it.
Yeah, it's where I've seen it done, and it's worked really well. It works fantastically well. One of the best, and they did use slides, but one of the best examples was I did some work for a financial organization not that long ago, and they set, it was a senior leadership team presenting to the employees, and they set the task, bearing in mind they're a financial organization, they set the task of they were allowed to use slides, but they weren't allowed to use a single number.
Oh, that's. I imagine that would have been made for a tough pre-preparation.
It made them think, and you know, it worked. It was amazing. It worked really well. Go on.
No, I was just out of curiosity, because I'm looking down at my phone here. What's the kind of level of interaction on this live?
So we're getting loads. So we've got at the moment we've got 36 people watching. Now there's 36 people watching. Let's see how many of those 36 are actually listening. Give us a shout. Say hi right now. Let us know where you are. Do you know me? Do you know James? It could be both, because we've got we've got this post going out over both of our profiles. Richard, you've asked a few things in here, so I'm going to address you. Like you, I think LinkedIn Live is a really positive development. Absolutely. Agree that visual content is vital. LinkedIn Live is more than just posting a video. You need to manage your audience. Richard, yes, you're right. From what I see, I am the only person in the UK certainly using LinkedIn Live regularly, but I'm not entirely sure how many others have access to it. We can't get those numbers, but it's a very, very small number from everything that we know. I think the good slides put overcomplicated ideas really well. Richard, you're from Huntingdon. Thanks for joining in. You're commenting a lot, and I really appreciate it. Christian, if you're still watching also, thank you very much for joining us. It's lovely to have you here. If you've got any questions for James, now would be a very good idea. We said that we were going to kind of keep this to half an hour, but he's enjoying it. He's got a lot to talk about, so let's keep him going.
I am, and I'll note on the poor connection. Sorry about that. That's going to have to be an area of improvement. But just one thing on that. This is often people's problem about putting content. They expect it to be corporate, polished, and finished. And I've worked in corporate environments, and I recognise the want and the aspiration to put out high quality all the time. Yeah. But frankly, you're the first guy in the UK that's got access to this. Yeah. You know, you've got me here that I'm at home on a Friday because I like to go and pick up my kids, and I'm kind of using my converted garage, which is also a makeshift office, to do that, because that's what it takes. So, apologies on the view quality, but hopefully at least you're getting some of the audio, and at least you can kind of tap this back. But for me, what's important is that we're experimenting, and we're given an opportunity to improve this. And I'm actually looking to launch a podcast after the conference this year, and this is one of the things that I'm taking into consideration. Do I do it in person? Set people up live so that I can totally be reliant on the streaming capabilities? Am I going to do it over this type of method where you've got someone dialing in from a different link? I mean, for me, I will probably do it in person for that production value. But again, people laugh sometimes when I do my videos on the go in the car. In fact, here's a good anecdote. I often
James, you make it look like you've got a fully employed driver. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. So it looks like that, and I'm glad that you've noticed, because he's very expensive. Obviously, that's the benefit of Uber, and making you feel like you're already a made man. But it was interesting. What a few of my partners in the US picked up on the fact that I keep going live or recording videos while driving. Yeah. And that's, of course, because in the US, they drive on the left. So I had to actually politely explain that no, it's cool. I'm not driving where I'm doing these videos. I'm actually sitting in the back of an Uber, so I'm being driven to work, which kind of allows me some productive time. But also, it's the window of time where I feel like I can do stuff on the spot. So, for example, I'm not totally comfortable thinking about what I'm going to say and setting up in a corner and then it being dry. I'm rather think about what I'm going to say in the shower, get in my Uber, deliver it, and then it's done. And at least I've got something out there that day. And if you like it, great. If you don't, flick through it.
Well, like there's elements of it that I remember enough that I know it's you that's talking, and that can only be a good thing in terms of you getting the message out and kind of lodging it in people's minds.
Yeah, I think from like a familiarity perspective, and sowing those seeds and repeating your message over and over again, even if no one ever likes it or comments on it, it does absolutely make a difference. I'll give you a great example. I was at the Salesforce World Tour on Thursday, and there was a lad that I went to school with in Windsor who had seen me, and his reaction to seeing me was like I'd been walking past him every day in the playground for the last 10 years since I left school. Which is actually much longer than that, but because he's seeing my story, seeing the journey, and he wants to be up to date. So I kind of just feel like people just need to relax and take it on the chin. Yeah, sometimes you're going to sound naff, sometimes you're going to look terrible, sometimes you're not going to deliver anything particularly much of value. But if you're out there trying your best, I do believe over time I will improve. And I will absolutely believe that over time my message will land in a better way. And actually, when you get that LinkedIn message from me, or where you see that Facebook retargeting because you've been onto my website, you'll be like, yeah, that's the guy that runs those events, James Ski. I hear him all the time. It's all unconscious, but it has to happen.
That Facebook retargeting, by the way, works a treat. It was clogging up my feed a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sorry about that. Well, I'll give you another example. Last year, before SaaS Growth, I had a promotional video going out, and I got a message from a friend who was sitting with his wife, and his wife pulled over. They obviously used the same device, and she was like, "Isn't that your mate James? Like, I keep seeing him every time I read the Daily Mail." So she's reading the Daily Mail, and they're maybe not my target audience, but he is interacting and seeing more of the content, which just adds to the credibility that I'm working bloody hard on putting a good event. So right now, while I'm still developing this business and thinking about the future, there are snags, there are bugs, and I'm just trying to demonstrate that I'm learning as a business owner, and I will do my best to improve. And then in the next few years, you'll be like, yeah, do you remember that crappy video stuff you used to do? And I'll be like, yeah, I know, but that's how I started.
We're going to do this again in 2 years' time, and I'm going to bring all of those videos out and just play them in one after the other. Do you remember? Do you remember when you said this?
Well, hopefully by then I've got a decent office. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I've got 3 children, so half of the office is their learning, numbers on the wall, ABC, coloured shapes, and the other side is kind of my library of self-help books, business autobiographies, and all sorts of other tricks. So it's looking good. And actually, on that point, just to give you a check on it, we're going to have to wrap up in 2 minutes, Dominic, so I've got to go and pick my kids up.
That's fine. Well, let's take this as the opportunity to wrap it up. I've got loads more that we could talk about. I wanted to find out what your plans are very quickly for. In fact, do this in 20 seconds. What's your plans for SaaS growth going forward?
So SaaS Growth this year is going to have 300 attendees, 40 speakers. And it's over the Olympic Park. 2020, we are going to need a bigger venue. We want it to be in the city. I expect that we can probably reach 500 attendees. It's potentially and possibly going to be over 2 days. We're going to have many more partners involved, and I hope to bring in some international speakers. So that's what the future looks like for SaaS Growth, and you can learn more at saasgrowth.co.
I was just going to bring that up onto the screen right now. So for more information, first of all, about James's business Sales Confidence, go to www.salesconfidence.co, www.salesconfidence.co, But the important one from James's perspective, because he has still got a small number of tickets left for SaaS Growth 2019, which is on the 3rd of July at the Here East Plexor at the Olympic Park. Go to www.saasgrowth.co, saasgrowth.co. I don't think that should have a .com on the end, should it?
No, not yet. I've got the .com of sales confidence, but I'm working on the .com for SaaS Growth.
Well, it's just going to have to come later on. James, thank you very much. I'm just going to stick one other thing up. To contact James via LinkedIn, everything goes out on LinkedIn, but if you find James on LinkedIn by searching for Sales Confidence, you'll find everything on there also. James, there is loads more that we could talk about. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed doing it. Just like my business is a startup and having access to LinkedIn Live, this is very much an experimental thing. I'm trying to get on guests that have something really cool to talk about. This is no exception. I love the SaaS world. I love everything that's happening in there. And it's been a pleasure having you on. So thank you very much for joining.
Great job. Good luck and enjoy the bank holiday weekend. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Bye.
Absolutely. See you soon. Another great guest in James there. That's it for today. I'm going to leave it right there. I am back. It's now yet another bank holiday. We seem to have a never-ending stream of bank holidays at the moment. We've got another bank holiday now, but coming on Tuesday, I have Martin Robinson from The Book of Man, which is a men's health, wealth, and online magazine. We're going to be talking everything to do with, we're going to be talking everything to do with men's health, how they came to found The Book of Man just last year, and their plans going forward. It ties in really nicely with Simon Blake, the conversation I had with Simon Blake just a week ago today, actually, around mental health. They're very big on Twitter. So he's here 2 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. And then there will be a couple of other guests also next week. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much again to James for being my guest for today. I will be back on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Have a great weekend, and I will see you very soon.